Thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos. I call them rays of light because I feel like in our world today we have we're just overwhelmed with negative, and I know that we've got wonderful, wonderful people all throughout our county that are doing great things for people and students. I mean, just all ages that are lending a helping hand, that are trying to make this world a better place. And I want to showcase them instead of more of the negative. So I'm so happy today to have with me John Goode. John has been a friend of mine for a while through his wife, Ruth, that is the executive director of United Way. But I came to meet John through mentoring, and we were both mentoring at the same time. And we were at a Reach event and taking on new kids. And the more I found out about John and all that he has done to help kids in our county, the more impressed I've been and just grateful. I have a grateful heart that we have people like him. So John, welcome. Thank you for being a part of this today. Can you tell me a little bit about what mentoring is? Let's start that way. What does it mean to be a mentor?
Sometimes I start by explaining what it's not, which starts to narrow the definition down. You're not a parent, and you're not a teacher, and you're not a social worker. Okay, actually, what you are is you are an advocate. And what's an advocate? An advocate is someone that supports another. That's if you use advocate, the verb. And then if you use advocate, the noun, we're talking about someone who is friendly to another person. So that's really, in a nutshell, what we're talking about. A longer definition of a mentor, a longer definition is it's a volunteer who works with a young person with developing a special, encouraging relationship, because you're trying to give them a foundation for success in their life. And the best time to do that is during these school years. Okay. An interesting statistic that I was acquainted with in the original training many, many years ago was that a lot of these kids will decide by 6th grade whether they're going to even finish high school. So the early intervention is the better path. Okay, so that's a start. A little bit more of a definition is a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability in a student than they might see in themselves, and you're going to help to bring it out. So essentially a friendly and supporting listening ear. That's it. Very easy.
And how long have you been mentoring?
Been doing this for the better part of 24 years now.
And how many kids total have you mentored?
Oh, total. Yeah, I was asked that question recently. I can't remember. I really can't remember. I currently have 17 kids in our county that I mentor. Going back, though, to the original 24 years, I was working full time. So probably I just did 1 or 2. But then through the years, as I had more time, I added more kids. Can I round it up? It's in the dozens. Is that okay? Close enough.
I bet you're in the hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely sure that you are.
What's nice about this is I'll still run into kids who are even in college or even out of it, and I'll see them around town or see them in a store or something, and they come up to me and go, "I remember you," and so it's very nice, and you see them coming out the other side as happy people, and that's all we really want. That's all we really want.
I started mentoring I can't remember how many years ago, but when they first started it in the school system, it was just for middle school. And then we started when I was PTO president at Coal Mountain many, many decades ago. I started the elementary school, and we had a great turnout in the beginning. I will say that it's you have to brace your heart, because there were times that, I mean, you give it just all you can, and it doesn't go the way that you hope. And they're not your child. I love what you said at the beginning, because you love somebody and you so want their success and you become like their biggest cheerleader, but then it is very disappointing and heart-wrenching when it doesn't work out. And you have to do it in faith and give it all you can, and you can't control the results.
That's correct. That's true. As long as you do your best, try your hardest. That's it. That's it.
I don't know if I'm sure you've got some funny stories. I'll tell you mine. I had a little boy that I was mentoring, and they say it's fine to tutor or help them with their work, but don't do it for them. I mean, so he was failing a class. He was not going to get able to go to, I think it was 8th grade. And it was one class in particular. I knew the teacher very well. And we were doing a book report, or a report, wasn't a book, just a report on the Manhattan Project, I think it was called. And so it was just a 1-pager. So I sat there with him. I wrote it. He gave input. He helped some. And then he was to take it and he was to recopy it. Now, I went over the line. I shouldn't have helped that much. That was my fault. I was really eager to see what my grade was, though. I was wanting to know how well I did on my paper. And so I wound up reaching out to the teacher, and I said, so how did he do on his paper? And he said, you don't want to know. And I said, oh, no, you got to tell me, how did he do? And he said, he turned in your paper. And I said, what? And then I was totally embarrassed because I was busted because I went too far to help the kid. I mean, I would go every week and meet him in the library and read. I remember reading Where the Red Fern Grows, and I was crying as I was reading it. He was sitting there staring at me like something was wrong with me. And I was just boo-hooing reading the story. But he had turned in my paper that I had, and I learned a great lesson in that. I did, because I realized I care too much. And that's not saying, I don't mean that ugly, but I got too wrapped up in it. Like his success became my success, or I wanted him so badly to do good, much more than he did.
Yeah. That'll happen.
But I don't think that's a bad thing if you care about somebody, though. So many times kids won't love. And the funny thing is, I did just like you, and I saw him as a grown adult not that long ago at Cracker Barrel, and he came over, and it was difficult for me to recognize him. He had matured so much. And he said, and then I heard him telling his wife or girlfriend that I used to come and see him. So I was happy that he didn't have to come speak to me. He didn't have to. So I think that he felt love, or he wouldn't have come.
There you go. You made the connection. Okay. And they understood that you were reaching out.
What are your age differences in the kids you mentor?
Oh, let's see. Everything from elementary school. I have he is a 4th grader. He's turning 10 next week. All the way up and through seniors in high school. So I've got that, and I've got, as I said, several others who have gone off to either working full time or at the University of North Georgia or whatever, and they're in their 20s, that group. I've got one person who, through a family friend I met some time ago, they asked me to work with their son, and he will be 36 on February 20th, if I remember correctly. And he recently reached out to tell me that he was applying for a new job. And he not only put me down as a reference, but he sent me a screenshot, and he put, and my mentor too. He's 36. So, I was flattered, and I was also wanted to think, well, I wonder how that's going to go over with the employer.
No, I think though.
But I'm okay. I'll stand behind my kids no matter what their age,
If I were hiring him, I would appreciate his honesty, because so much of the world's not honest anymore.
There you go. There you go. And he was able to work from, he had a question of, tell me to make the decision. What decision should I make between staying with a job that he was not happy with and moving to another job that he had before and he would like to go back to because it was a better environment and so forth. And he said, so you give me the decision. Which one should I do? I said, no, I don't do that. Okay? It's your decision. It's your job. It's your life. I said, I'll give you direction, but I won't give you a decision. And he took it and he made his choice. So I think he'll be a happier guy. We'll find out. He always stays in touch.
Because he knows you care.
Yeah, he's out there.
I do a lot of work with the kids in need, kids that are mental health issues and drug addiction. And you find out over and over again, it's not about the criticism. It's about the love. And it's about the love that they're missing or the love they're getting. And it's about the relationships that are forming. And to me, that's what makes mentoring so vitally important. And we need hundreds of more mentors. I mean, recently Todd Shirley came and spoke, who was over behavior in the schools. And he was talking about that he didn't know that there was new problems. It was just younger, that kids were younger experiencing problems, that their needs are coming at a much younger age than they used to, with anxiety and depression and, pornography and all these things that kids are dealing with. It's much, much younger than they used to be. And I think that is when that's occurring on one side, you need more mentors on the other side. And I think he said that their SASs, which is like their souped up mentors that are having, that are through school safety, they've got almost 3,000 kids, 2,700 kids that only 8 of them are dealing with, some day to day, some hour to hour. That it is, I just don't think we hear the Chamber of Commerce, and nothing against the chamber by any means, but, you hear the fluff and you hear all the great things that are happening in the county, but sometimes you overlook that we've got a lot of kids that do have needs that are not being met, or that are difficult to be met, but without the right resources.
Mm-hmm. And that is just a short commercial here in praise of our counselors. Our counselors are great resources to tell us where those kinds of resources are. They might be offered there in the school, they might be offered outside the school, but that's the person to go to when you hear one of these issues and you want to address it. Go to your school counselor. They know. God bless them. How they do it, I don't know, because they have so very many kids to cover. But if you're at a loss for how do I help with this problem or that problem, they'll help you. They'll help direct you. Okay.
John, do they offer video counseling? I mean, can you meet with kids online, or do they really want you to do it in person?
I imagine you could do it online, but it really takes that connection, one-to-one, present in the room, three-dimensional. I'm sure you've observed, these kids get on their phone, and that's as close as a personal connection as they get. I mean, it's a 2D, not even a 3D encounter, and you're sending a very strong message when you say, I want to see you. I enjoy seeing you. Okay, let's meet. It gives them a sense of individuality and purpose that they may not otherwise have. They're just stirred into that big student body, users of whatever app they're using these days. I think you need to do the personal connection. I do.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it would be better. How did you manage it during the pandemic? Did you have to take a break?
Actually, no. I got all my shots, all my boosters. wore a mask, engaged.
Just kept going.
Engaged, you know? And again, that's to the idea of valuing the person, the mentee, that, you know, I mean, you're not being terribly heroic or something, but I mean, you know, you're saying, look, I'm taking precautions and coming to see you. Okay. You know, your time is worth it. So,
That's
it's
wonderful.
important to do that. They need identity, especially if they're in a foster situation, or so many of our kids now are parented not by their grandparents, their great grandparents.
A lot of them. I've had grandparents reach out to me for help, and you know, living on Social Security, and you know, having to pay for some sport in school or this or that, that their budgets really can't cover it. And they're just, there's been such a gap in time, and life has changed so much since they reared their own children, that it is a very stressful thing for them to be in that situation. I have felt very, in fact, I called a big meeting together at United Way to ask, what is our county doing for grandparents that are in this situation? Because every school I talk to say that there's a lot of grandparents raising kids.
Oh, there are. Yes, there are. So, it's difficult for them, very difficult for them to even understand what the mentee is talking about. What's the issue? You know, I never heard of that. We didn't deal with, you get a lot of that. That didn't happen in my day. That's not the thing to say to these kids, because it's not your day. It's their day.
John, do you still have some Reach Scholarship kids that you
As a matter of
mentor?
fact, I do. I've got, currently I have 4.
Can you explain the difference?
One is a junior, one is a senior. Yes. Okay. I think I have 2 juniors, 1 senior, 1 freshman. Right. And one of my Reach people is at UNG. I think he's in his 3rd year, and he still stays. And
I know, because I know his dad, and he was telling me about y'all going.
Oh, okay. So you
the
know,
family's going out to eat, and so he was saying how y'all. I mean, it's like you're mentoring him has become like you're part of their entire family.
and I was going to say, I am treated like the family, and there he has some grown-up questions now, and I'm very, very pleased to answer them. Things like, Mr. Good, what do you think about a 401k? What do you think about a Roth IRA? What do you think about insurance? I mean, life insurance, whole life, term life, and I'm just terribly impressed.
That's awesome. That makes
Oh,
me
by the way,
proud.
he still calls me Mr. Good.
I was judging that group of kids when he won.
Yep.
I remember his class well. And
Yes.
so explain Reach a little bit to little listeners, abbreviated version maybe.
Reach is an opportunity for a student who qualifies on both needs level, economic needs level, and also on an academic level, to realize $10,000 worth of scholarship at the end of high school. That'd be $2,500 a year for each of the 4 years of college, roughly speaking. Okay. Now, the beauty of that is they only need to maintain a 2.5 grade point average through high school as they go. Okay. They also are eligible, even though they have the Reach Scholarship, also eligible for Hope Scholarship, also eligible for Zell Scholarship, and any other type of scholarship they might find out there. So they can actually stack these things, and that 10,000 grows to quite a lot more than that. Okay, quite a lot more. Okay. And the other thing I would mention about the Reach program is that when they're deciding what to do after high school, they can choose from 300 300 colleges, universities, and technical schools in our state that they can take that money to. Okay, so that gives them a lot of bang for their buck. And speaking of bang, of those 300, they can not only get a match to the 10,000, they can get a double match.
Wow.
You know, young man you were talking about a minute ago, I told him he should do a seminar on that because he has done exactly that. He has stacked them to an art, not a science, an art. So, game changer, life changer, use whatever term you want, but Reach is fantastic.
It is. It is a fantastic program. Nathan Deal and his wife Sandra started. The governor did at that time, and it really is ending in some cases generational poverty. I mean, there's people going to college that are graduating high school that they've never had a family member to graduate high school before. And now they have an opportunity to go to college. It is a fabulous program, just a fabulous program.
And I must say for the group that interviews them and makes the selection, very, very good results. Very, very good. So
it's a hard thing. And sometimes, I did it for years and then I've taken a break, but it's hard to be in that position of giving those out because I think more than what the kid even knows in some cases. I remember one time in particular, and I'll cry just thinking about it, that when we called, or they called, we did, and told a mother, she worked in McDonald's, she was Hispanic, and when they called and said that her child had won, she fell on the floor at McDonald's and started crying. And I think that she realized there's no telling how many jobs she was working, and it was just such an answered prayer for her. And it was just so overwhelming. I think that no doubt that she had prayed for it, that it was something that it really touched me because I've been blessed and I haven't been in a situation that I would worry about how to, want to go to school and not have it paid for, or my children. And I just don't think that we realize how much that affects and changes people's lives and how grateful that we are to have it. So I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for you, John, and all that you do for the community. Every life you touch, it makes such a huge ripple effect, not just in that child, but in their family and the families they'll create. And if somebody wants to be a mentor, I know we've got the information we're going to put up on the screen when we send it out in the newsletter, but any other advice on anybody that wants to sign up to be a mentor, to find out how they can get involved?
First of all, I would go to the Board of Education. There's a gentleman there, Dr. Joseph Pack. He's in charge of the program. I think I provided you his phone number and
you did.
His email address. There is training. I would say about every month, every other month. There's currently one coming up, I know, in February for sure.
But you only have to go to one 2-hour training, right?
And I was going to say, it's a very simple training exercise. Okay, of course, that's followed by background check. Very simple, very simple. So engaging is very easy, very easy. And I would also, being a retired person myself, encourage people to do this because as we get older, we tend to be more of an observer than a participant. This will keep you on the participant side of that equation, and you'll be doing yourself a huge favor as well as the children. Okay, so I encourage people to do that. Do it for the kids and do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. It's actually fun. It's actually fun.
I thank you so much, John, for being a true ray of light. And I encourage everybody to look into mentoring. We have such a shortage and such a need in our school system. So thank you again for being a part of this program today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.